Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have the top 64 breakdown for the North American Digimon Finals that happened at Card Fest this last weekend. It was almost 1,000 players, and we have this top 64 cut as we see here today. And a couple of things before we get started. First, I want to say just a bit of an apology just that these were out so late. It's just a lot of data I had to go through. I've been on the road. I have just honestly a lot of things. So I also do want to really shout out DigiPanda for helping me get all these deck lists in a good spot for me to present it to you guys. And just big thanks to also PPG for releasing them. They're on their website too, which is linked on my website, and just everything else. So a really large event, obviously like our event for EX5, pretty much until we get BT15. And honestly, we're gonna have a lot more, I think, of these smaller formats for sets, just based on the kind of proposed release schedule for this year, trying to get us at like the same release as Japan, which I think is going to be quite the task for it. But honestly, again, this was kind of like a day one format for us, and then also this is before the restriction list kicks in, so there's just a lot of things around this event that make it really interesting in a lot of ways. So, but we do have this top 64 as we see here today, and if you guys enjoy these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And I have a lot of resources on my website, Eggman Events, for deck lists, breakdowns, and just everything else. And if you need anything for this game, I think that's a really good resource for you guys there. So again, we had over 900 players. It was 10 rounds of Swiss into a top 64 cut on day 2, and then it was best of 3 for the entire thing. And also it was there was some tournament footage for it as well. The finals was played on their channel, so you can find that linked in the description as well as on this page for you guys. But of this top 64, we did have 25 Anubis, 8 Mirage, 7 Red Hybrid, 4 Security Control, 3 of the blue and 3 of the purple for Metal Garuru, 2 Beelzemon, 2 Belphi, 2 Leomon, 2 Machine Dramons, a single Bragra, Blue Flare, 4 Sovereign Ardeva, Hunters, Lugamon, and also 1 Yellow Vaccine. So honestly, pretty diverse, but I don't think it's too surprising that Anubis is a deck that's going to be hit in the near future. It is just very strong for what it is, and I think it has a really good deck around it. And it is surprising. Like, we'll see, most of these decks, or at least half of them, are just purple doing very similar things. They've just got a really good package for this game right now, and they just get a lot of advantage, where it's a little bit trickier for other decks to kind of keep up as well. So we're not going to go over every archetype for this, because there are a lot for this event, and then also most of them are at least a good amount of them are just archetypes that haven't really changed in the last little bit. So I'm going to kind of focus more on newer archetypes, or ones that have changed with the release of EX5, and just kind of newer for this format as well. But again, if you guys want any of the deck lists, they're right here, linked in the description at eggmanevents.com. So we won't be going over Mirage, Red Hybrid, Beelzemon, Machine Dramon, Blue Flare, Hunters, Lugamon, or Yellow Vaccine, or Bagra. So those are all just kind of older archetypes that I just don't really want to, you just don't have the time to cover in this video. So we're going to go over to our first place, and so we do have Bryce's first place, Anubis. And real quick too, he did do a video on his YouTube channel, which I'm going to link in the description as well. Make sure to watch his video. He'll have way better insight, and just better insight than me on the deck and choices and just everything else. But this was, I think, the deck to beat. I think if anyone was asked what they thought was going to be the deck to win this event, I think most people said Anubismon, and they would guess correctly for this one. It's a deck that just lets you get a lot of value. This Anubismon is pretty strong for what it does. Just 1 Digivolving, or just activate main. Let's return trash 3 cards from your hand, then play up to 1 purple Digimon from your trash with play cost reduced by 3, and then for each one you trash, you reduce it by another one. So you can trash 3 and reduce it by 6. And then and when purple, it has a lot of good cards, when playing. So obviously like Mervamon. So you can play Mervamon off of it, and then you can Digicross when you play it with stuff like Ignitemon, which also gets like an additional reduction, or like a memory back because you played a Digimon by effects, which you also get other inheritables that kind of help you out with that too. Which, like Goblymon lets, whenever you trash a card, you get to gain memory, or Egg Sunamon. Like, there's just a lot of good purple stuff for this, and whenever I played this deck, it's just felt very strong. I don't think anyone's going to argue that this is probably, if not the best deck in this format right now. And it is, there are decisions, there are making sure that you pilot correctly as well, but it's just a really, really strong deck. So I don't really have much more to say. Just big congrats to Bryce for their first place finish with this build. Next up, we have Peter with their second place security control. And security control is always going to be a little bit of a menace in this game. And it's just been around for just ever, for pretty much just how the mechanics of the game work. Being able to have effects in your security, being able to have ways to just recover more of them. We have some new ways with Magnanjamon as the older one, but also the Ace one from BT14 has been very strong. We have the add of the new Azulongmon, which is probably one of the, if not best, 4 sovereigns that we got from this set. It's an Ace Blast Digivolve. On play, when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's level 5 or lowers to their hand, then unsuspend one of your Digimon with Deva 4 Great Dragons or Sovereign trait so it can unsuspend itself. So there could just be a lot of scenarios where your opponent's trying to attack into like one of your Magna Angemons that you had from last turn. You attacked with it just to do some damage. They try to attack to get rid of it, and then they get punished with this Azulong. It gets a lot of momentum, and even if they do end up deleting this, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon at the highest level, so that's just strong in its own right. So obviously, if you Digivolve this on top of Magna Angemon, that's like a double Ace, so they get a whole lot of memory back for it, but the pressure for it is pretty great. So not much more to say from that. We do have the yellow purple ones. Honestly, if this deck didn't go didn't get second, I might not have covered it as much because it is a lot of what we've been seeing for security control for the last little bit. But it did do a very good job, and big congrats to Peter for their second place finish with this one. And real quick, I do also want to go over Kyle's list. So this was I think it was exactly 64th place, at least like the last one. Yeah, at least from based on the rankings that PPG released. But this was a red yellow version of it. It's kind of like a yellow vaccine. Like this is like the stepping stone between security control and yellow hybrid, and kind of like, I guess, shine gray in a little bit, which I didn't really mention it, but we didn't see any shine gray top this event, which I think is a little bit wild since I know it was a very good deck up into this point. But it's a really interesting build. We do take advantage of using the Marcuses, having them as like red and yellow sources for a couple of our option cards. But it's just like a way different build. Than it's really cool to see kind of how this works. We have all these Digi Eggs that are Koromon, so we can use our Agamons to Digivolve on top of them for free. Ukamon obviously is a good card too for just getting that free cycle for us, and just in a good spot for it. Like this is kind of like more aggressive, I would say, or ways to kind of just chip away with rookies and then have ways to interact with your opponent. But it's an interesting build nonetheless. So I did want to just kind of go over this one real quick, and congrats to Kyle for their finish there. Next up, we have Gordy with their purple Metal Garuru. And we do know that, we did get hit on the restriction list with the Goblimons. Specifically, this is one of them for it. And it's in a, the package for this is just so good. It's so good for being able to get to your high end very quickly, but also set up cards into your trash while you do so, which is kind of why this archetype's got hit pretty much before release here in North America. It was doing a lot of damage in, just getting a lot of good results in Japan previously. But, we've seen Metal Garurumon be popular before, obviously the blue one, which also kind of got benefits for this. But you'll also see, and we'll kind of go over some of the list in this video, that it's just such a good engine in a lot of ways. Being able to, again, like have Garurumon and then have these inheritables, being able to draw one, then trash one, being able to have Gabu X Digivolve on top of it, and being able to protect your anything with Garurumon or Omnimon in it too, which that's really good protection, and you got to draw a card. And when Digivolving, being able to draw 2, trash 1 essentially is pretty dang good. So the protection's good, the amount of pressure you're able to get to, and just being able to finish on Metal Guru X, or being able to finish on level 5 pretty easily and then blast into the Metal Garurumon, which you can also use to end your turn and gain, by when they attack, gain the memory and get the additional benefit. So I've done a lot of testing with this deck too. Sometimes it just goes off and your opponent really can't do a lot about it because they're just so fast. It's so fast, they get so much advantage, and the amount of cycle that this deck gets to do is kind of absurd at times. So this is Gordy's version of that, and I kind of also wanted to go over real quick. This is like an in-between, like this is like Purple Garuru in my mind, but the top end is different, so I do want to kind of go over it. It's mostly using the Beelzemon as X as the top, because we are running X antibodies as it is, so if we already have X antibody in our stack, we're able to use the when Digivolving to be able to do some burn damage, which is quite good for us too. And since we get so many cards into our trash, maybe not as fast as like Beelzemon vanilla, but being able to get those cards in trash, the amount of cards you get to trash, is 1 or 2 depending on it too. So you don't really have to squeeze anything like any other pieces, because we again have the X antibodies as it is for this to be a good card, and I think that's strong. Which also means we're using the Nidhoggmon to trash cards from our hand to gain memory when digivolving, and also the Leviamon, which we'll talk about this guy in a little bit more as well. But this being able to have its on-play effect, but the additional add of Biting Crush, which is a really interesting card to not only delete your opponent's cards, but you can, like, if this card is in your security, you're able to delete something. And then also, if you discard something with a 7 Great Demon Lords from it, you're able to get this pretty nasty delay effect, which you get to play Leviamon from your trash while paying the cost whenever your opponent plays Digimon by an effect. So I think that's all good. It's a very strong deck, very clean, and the amount of pressure again that you get to do is pretty good. So this is the build here. Congratulations to Bobby for their top 32 finish with it. And then next up, we're just going to go to blue. We've been talking about the purple one, and even though this is quote unquote the blue package of it, you'll note that because all these cards are blue and purple, you're able to get the advantages, and it doesn't really care about the colors as much. A lot of these just digivolve on stuff that are named the right thing. So but yeah, this Gabo X is just a menace, being able to get so much advantage for you, being able to fill cards into your trash, and it's just, there's like no, like, and then the protection effect, like even if this card had like only the inheritable or only the when digivolving on play, it'd be a good card, but having both of it is a little wild in my mind. So I think that's just been why, like, this itself is the reason why the deck has been so strong. Just super easy value you're able to get from this is absurd. So I don't think I have much more to say about this, though. It's kind of like what we've been seeing. You kind of lean more on the blue side, though, but we do have like the top end. Obviously, like the promo Garurumon can't run more than one, so we have to use the new one, Garuru X, and kind of like the Sagittarius, but and then we kind of have to get our X antibodies, which we haven't talked about the proto form, but this is a nifty one as well that's let you go up your chain in a different way, but just effectively too. So other than that, I don't have much more to say, but just congrats to Stephen Hahn for their top 32 with a blue Melga Ruru. Next up, we have Belphemon, and so we're almost done with this purple block. Promise. But well, we have like 2 Belphemons, but we're gonna go over Conor's, which is running again this package just to show that this is so good in so many decks. Being able to fill cards into your trash and get that kind of off. We do have the top end, so this is kind of like an in between, like kind of like Bobby's version of where you're already running like the 7 Great Demon Lords kind of stuff. So, but being able to, again, like the Biting Crush, being able to go up your chain, Leviamon as well. Like this is a great on play effect. When you're when digivolving. So if your opponent has as many or more total Digimon and Tamers as you do, delete one of your opponent's highest level Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's lowest level Digimon, and then also all turns when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory for each deleted. So if you're able to get that effect off, you get to get 2 memory back, which means you technically digivolve for 3, and you're able to get rid of 2 cards on their board. So that's great. That has a lot of value for you, and I think it really helps get the deck. So again, being able to get a lot of cards into your trash pretty easy, like Nidhoggmon as well. You can trash while going up your chain, which means you get stuff for free, or 1 less because you use the memory gaining effect on the trash there. And then Belphemon, I would say, has been pretty strong in itself. So not much more to say from that, but just big congratulations to Conor for the top 16. And then Ernesto's kind of running the more generic version, or I'd say like the more developer intended version of the deck. So I just kind of want to go over this one real quick. I don't have much more to say, except for like even this one's running Leviamon for the benefits that you get from it. But this is like the standard version, which helps you out a lot and gets the inherent synergy. But I did just want to compare and contrast this one real quick due to them both running the same archetype, but them being, besides the top end, very, very different between the two. So this is Ernesto's build there. And then next up, we have Sai with their top 64 version of Leomon. And this is kind of the same thing. We have 2 different Leomon packages I want to show off real quick. But Sai is, as I would say, again, like more of the intended strategy. The big boss monster for this one is Heavy Leomon, being able to use this card. It has a new kind of keyword, Fortitude, when this Digimon would be Within this Digimon with Digivolution cards as deleted, play this card without paying its cost, and then on deletion, when Digivolving or on deletion, you get to de-Digivolve something, then return one of your of their 6k DP or lower Digimon to the bottom of their deck. And end of attack, once per turn, return one of your opponent's 4k DP or lower Digimon to the bottom of their deck. If you weren't able to, unsuspend this so you can attack twice if they don't have anything on their board. So that's pretty good. This kind of the idea that if your opponent tries to get this deleted, they get really punished for it, especially with inheritables from our Leomon being able to de-Digivolve on deletion, as well as the Elecmon, same kind of thing. And then we also have like the Leomon kind of side for it too. So it's a really interesting build. We have like the other top end of like the Bancho Leomon, being able to, when this card would be played from the hand, if there's 6 or fewer total cards in both players' hand, security stacks, reduce this by 5, so you can play this for 7 on play, or when Digivolving, can suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. In all turns, once per turn, when Digimon becomes suspended, you may have one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 4k TP and security attack minus 1 until the end of their turn. So being able to just kind of like that security attack minus 1 is really big, especially if you are playing in something like Metal Garuru, where they're going to try to attack with one card more times. That kind of buys you a turn and potentially can get something minus the 4 DP. So really cool list, and I like the idea there. So congratulations to Sai. And then we have Ryan, which is kind of running the, as DigiPanda calls it, the gotcha version of it. So this one's just kind of high rolling. It's more like an OTK kind of build of the same thing. Just the fact that this can attack twice is great. So we have stuff like Kuomon being able to use it to get security attack plus 1. So now, if you can't get rid of anything, this checks 4 things, which is great. The Fortitude means that it comes back and then you don't get to attack with it again because it does have, you just played it, but regardless, that's pretty good. We have Saber Leomon as well, being able to have piercing and then end of turn, being able to attack an opponent's Digimon, and also when Digivolving, you suspend one of your opponents and unsuspend this one. And then you just kind of have like a good amount of cards in your security as well. So we have like Sneemon, which is able to play from your security. We have the Pulsemon being able to suspend something and then add to hand, which is good for a rookie. And then kind of the gotcha version too is we have both Jagamon as well as Mame Tyrannomon. Both of them, when attacking, you get to reveal pretty much the top 3 cards of your deck and Digivolve into a level 6 green from on top of them without paying its memory cost. So that's pretty good. So being able to get into one of these two and get like the security attack plus 1, or either like this one also like unsuspends on Digivolving, so that's great for you. And just kind of all the pressure that you're allowed from this too. So it's an interesting deck. It kind of reminds me of Grandis in a lot of ways, and it's cool to see Ryan get a top 64 with that. So big congrats from there. And lastly, we have Ida with the top 64 finish of their 4 Sovereign or Diva deck. Deva deck for it. And I don't have, honestly, a lot of experience with it, which is a shame because I know that this is kind of like the newest version of like the not Digimon deck. And by that, I mean like there's no Digivolving. You kind of focus on like a lot of playing cards outright, kind of like how Royal Knights work. In that kind of way, which I'm a big fan of this one. But I do like the idea of this one. The idea is that you kind of play out these level 5s that don't really Digivolve by themselves, and then after that you're able to use effects of like you get to just ace into the like blast Digivolve into your ace cards. So in like the Sukuamon, the Zulongmon, which we talked about earlier, is just a very strong card. The Ibon, and then also the Baohumon. So all these are really good to go into being able to not really know which one you have to play around is great, and then you get a lot of good inheritables from this one. So you get like stuff like blocker, you get stuff like piercing, and just good traits like security attack plus 1. Pretty much like the identities for all of these, like blue gaining memory and stuff. We use the Mother D Reaper just to have a white source, which means we're able to use like the Loyalty Deeper Than the Sea, and also Holy Beast, great cardinal positions. Just being able to run these and without having to like, because you can play them for free if you have a Deva 4 Sovereigns out, but if they clear your board, at least you'll have this Mother D Reaper out, which means you get to get that effect. So I think that's something that's strong for you, and being able to that is great. It also means it's just a really kind of cool way that this deck works. So I like the idea of it. I like the idea of what this kind of deck does, and just something different, and being able to sneak into the top 24 there too, or 64 there. And also Fanglongmon is just a really neat card, being able to it essentially board wipes if you're able to return 4 cards with Deva 4 Sovereigns from your trash to the bottom of your deck. You get to give everything minus 16k, which is pretty much enough to clear the entire board. There's very few things that live past that, And also, when attacking for each one of your opponent's Digimon of 4 Sovereign Trait, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, and also alternates this Digimon isn't affected by the security effects, or sorry, by the effects of your opponent's Digimon, which is pretty unique for this guy too. So it's a really cool deck. It's about just playing your big boys. It's kind of like the most recent version of like a mega, just a mega deck, and I think that's really cool. So I don't have much more to say, but just congrats to Idan for their top 64 finish with this guy. So that's going to be it for this one. There's a lot of decks, there's a lot of data, and I don't have enough time to really go over a lot of it in detail. But I do want to just present it to you guys, have this as a resource for you guys. And I think, again, it was a really cool event that was in a really cool spot because it was like EX5, and it's like a day one format, but also like the last day for it. So it's kind of interesting in a lot of ways. So, but that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to let me know you guys want some more Digimon videos in the next couple days, and I'll catch you all next time.